when the English lands were torn apart by wars, betrayals, and the games of bloodthirsty lords. The hope of the people was almost exhausted. The kingdom began to go beyond a symbolic crown. The old kings had died, the throne was empty, and there was a legendary prophecy on everyone's tongue about who would become the real ruler. Whoever stuck his sword into the stone, he is the real king. Boom metni banabola missing 1000 Kelamelech. It is not known whether this sword was created by the permission of the gods or by magical hands, but its name was Excalibur, and the only person who could remove it from the stone was the chosen one indicated by the ancient prophecy. For years, nobles, knights, warlords have come to that stone and tried it. Some of them bled their hands, some even lost their temper. But the sword was still in place, upright, firm, and standing as if waiting for its owner. Here in the middle of this mess, there was a young man who no one had taken into account, who was not even noble, Arthur. Although not much is known about his childhood, most rumors claim that he is actually the illegitimate son of one of the former leaders of the kingdom. However, Arthur himself is not even aware of this. The person who raised him has a much more stable name in the legends. Merlin, a being with supernatural powers from beyond time, is both a wizard, a wise man, and a counselor. Merlin has raised Arthur not like an ordinary child, but like a king who will one day fulfill the tasks that fate will impose on him. He taught him not only how to use the sword, but also the importance of strategy, justice, compassion, leadership, and being one with the people. In other words, Arthur stood out not only by physical strength, but also by his character, intelligence, and purity of heart. One day, Arthur holds that legendary sword that no one can move in a completely accidental way, according to some, even in the divine direction, and easily removes it. The crowd around him freezes at first. Then shouts, astonishment, collapse, and worship begin. Because everyone knows that this sword is not a piece of metal that can be drawn randomly like that. It is the approval of the gods. Arthur is now king, but this kingdom was not presented to him on a golden plate. After taking his seat on the throne, Arthur builds a castle called Camelot. It is not just a military base, but an administrative center that has become a symbol of justice and order. Together with the most reliable and bravest knights he has gathered around him, he establishes that magnificent council that has gone down in history, the Knights of the Round Table. It is not for nothing that it is round. Everyone is equal. Everyone has a say. No one is superior to another. This is Arthur's vision. But like every legend, there are no dark shadows missing in this story. Arthur's wife, Guinevere, is drawn into a secret love affair with Lancelot, one of her most loyal friends and most powerful knights. This forbidden love emerges over time and begins to shake the firmest foundations of Camelot. Arthur is torn apart as a king, a wife, and a friend. His kingdom is also plunged into political crises while experiencing emotional collapse. Although the wound of this betrayal has not yet closed, a threat arises from Arthur's repressed, dark past, Mordred. According to some sources, Mordred is Arthur's own son, while his mother is Arthur's sister, whom he unknowingly was with, that is, the intersection of sin and fate. Mordred is the opposite of Arthur. He is full of ambition, hatred, and damnation. And his goal is to capture Camelot, overthrow Arthur, steal Excalibur, and plunge England into darkness. The two sides gather their armies. One of the bloodiest and legendary battles in British history begins. Arthur kills Mordred, but is himself mortally wounded. He gives the sword Excalibur to the last remaining loyal knights with him and says, "Put this back in the lake." When Excalibur is thrown into the lake, a hand comes out of the water. The Lady of the Lake, that is, the mysterious woman who gave the sword to Arthur in time, takes it back. Arthur's body is taken through the mists to an island that no one knows about, Avalon. Deck December. And the legend does not end here, but rather grows, because the prophecy says Arthur will return one day. When England is plunged into darkness again, the real king will wake up again to save his people.